Recording in progress. Kellen, thanks for joining me.
Mitch, no problem.
Did I come across like that? Well, you're not only I'm always glad to spend time with you, but you are the Mitch Wonders whiskey expert. I hope you can live with that.
Apparently, yeah, that's what I have become.
Well, I mean, by profession, certainly, and by education, absolutely. But also, I mean, because what I was wondering about is, because you and I kind of had a wee bit of a discussion, because we know there's some good bourbons out there. But by good, I mean they expensive and higher end bourbons. But we also know there's some lesser expensive ones that should be appreciated too.
I concur.
And I think because when I mentioned what my go-to was, I believe you came back with I would debate that. So that's what started me thinking. Well, let's do a blind taste test there, Mister Whiskey Expert of the Mitch Wonders podcast.
All right, I'll be honest, I forgot which one I'm debating you about, so we'll get
Yep.
into it and then we'll see if I agree
Well,
with past Colin.
yeah, just so you know, it's in here, and I'm not going to tell you which one it is because we've got three samples to try today, and I hope by doing this, we give everybody a little education because a lot of people are starting to get into the bourbon game and get into first of all, a couple of facts that you can tell me. Uh, well, bourbon is truly it can only be American, right?
By legal definition set by the US government, yes.
Yeah.
Just like
Same
Scotch
thing
whiskey
with
has to be from Scotland.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's where I was going to. But there's I like the saying that I came across it. They said, you know, it's not how you drink it, but that you drink it. So it's like it's they're welcoming everybody, I think, to the bourbon tasting experience. And I gotta say, I mean, I only started drinking bourbon, I think, back in 2010, and I thought I was on the high end of the game when I got Jim Beam Black Label, but
Whoa.
I know. But
Step
but what is
above.
it? What are the rules that say that make it bourbon? Like what guides, for example, what's the mash?
The mash for bourbon, which is the cereal grains that go into making it. For bourbon, it has to be at least 51% corn, and then the rest is up to the distiller. But it's typically a portion of barley, malted barley, and then either rye or wheat.
How does it? I mean, because I'm a fan of a good rye whiskey, so that means that at that point it's still 51%. The mash bill is 51%, but then what would a suggested mash bill have for rye whiskey?
For rye whiskey, I believe it has to be at least 51% rye, like you said. And then the rest is usually just barley, I believe, although there's a few 100% rye whiskeys out there, like what I produce at work is 100% rye in the mash bill.
That's a very nice one. The Chuckanut Distillery. That's
Hey,
in in Bellingham, Washington. But okay, so I put three criteria down. Pretty common criteria. I did some diligence
nice.
that we're going to test these on. And then for each one, we'll give it a ranking of 1 to 10. I've got my notebook. I could do it on an Excel, but um, it is what it is. So we'll start. Everyone be 1 to 10. I'll do my ranking. Obviously, I know what I'm looking at, but I'm trying to be objective. And then we'll have the expert do his, and I'll tally him up, and I'll reveal who we've tasted in the end. Cool.
Sounds good. Sorry, I'm just creating a notepad on my laptop here. But yeah, I'm ready to rock. I got the samples poured out in matching Glencairns, numbered.
As do I,
Uh,
but shot classes. But
oh,
so we'll start off with category one is appearance and nose. So we can do all three, and I think in appearance and nose. Then we'll do the last two categories, taste and finish, one by one. So we're gonna go in this order. First up is sample number three. So we're doing appearance and nose right now.
all right. It appears to be a whiskey. No, um,
Yeah, get that humor out of your system. None of that here.
so I have my three samples on kind of like a white background here, and to be honest, they all appear the normal kind of amber bourbon color. With actually three might be the lightest. I try to get
Yeah, I
equal
was gonna
pours.
say number three is kind of pale to me. I mean, well, I guess we could do our own. Well, you're gonna give me your scores anyway, but
Okay.
okay, I'm doing the same thing on a white background. Um, yeah, I'm gonna say, well, I'll make my own scores. So number three, I'm gonna give. Well, let's do the nose. It's appearance and nose.
Okay. So we're giving it a 1 through 10 on appearance and nose.
Right. Together.
Oh, all right. All right.
It's not a bad nose though.
Hey, don't try to influence my decisions over
Okay. Just thinking out loud.
here. All right. Okay. Should I give you notes on what I perceive, or are we just gonna go ahead and just
Yeah, one
rank
second.
it?
Let me write my scores down. Um, yeah, let's start with number three. What do you think?
Um, with most or a lot of U.S. whiskeys, a lot of the aroma is kind of like cask driven because we use or it has to be new American white oak. So I get a lot of that, which usually comes off to me as like a kind of like a caramel. I always get like a good bit of caramel in there, maybe sometimes like a little bit of mocha. This one I'm getting kind of a black peppery, almost mezcal-y kind of note to it as well, though.
What do you give it for a rating? Number three.
I'm gonna give it I want this 1 through 10, with 10
Yep.
being the best, right?
Yep.
I'll give it a 6.
All right. Number two. Wait, three, one, two. So we're going number one.
All right, back to number 1. All right. So this
There's a
one
reason for
also looks like it might be the darkest, if I had to say one was the darkest. Okay, interesting.
yeah, I'm with you. I'm not saying anything though. I
Okay,
do agree on the hue.
the who you
Hey, if you're gonna make fun of every damn thing I say, now
okay.
you're actually using Glencairns. That's the official like the shape of the tasting whiskey glass, right?
Yeah, there's a company in Scotland, I believe it's a family-owned business that makes the Glencairn glass. It's commonly used in a lot of whiskey sensory, and just drinking it helps kind of focus the aroma. It's kind of wide at the bottom and tapers up a little bit in a sort of like teardrop shape.
Have a belly to it.
Yeah. Don't know, the exact science, but seemingly widely accepted as a good tasting glass.
So how you feeling about number one?
You go first.
Oh, I thought, I mean, specifically, let me hang on. I don't know, call me crazy, but I get a little current, a little richer. For me, I'm like, I agree in the color, and I was impressed by the nose. It's
Okay.
yeah, every time I get it, I'm thinking like a dried, not quite plum, not quite raisin. So that's where I went with currant.
Okay, I feel you.
Little oaky, but it's a more of a to me it feels like a more of a charred oak. It may not be, but I that's just kind of where I was going.
Yeah, get that same kind of caramel, but also get a little bit of like milk chocolate maybe in there. Uh, I agree with your current. I gave it a 7 overall on appearance and nose.
All right. All we got left is number two in category one.
Two already.
This is kind of cool. I mean, I like the fact that, and also, Kentucky whiskey is the dominant region in the United States, right? Very, very dominant region.
For whiskey production in the United States, yeah, especially for bourbon, Kentucky. Although bourbon does not have to be made in Kentucky, contrary to a lot of popular belief, it can be made anywhere in the United States. I make bourbon in Washington State, so yeah.
I see number 312. So you got
Hmm. This one's almost a little like perfumey to me, but
I thought it
not
was a
bad, not bad.
little lightweight in my opinion
Okay,
on the nose. I get
Mister
that black
Mister
pepper like you
Hefty.
were mentioning earlier.
Yeah,
Okay, what do you got for number two?
I'm giving it a. I'm gonna give it a 6. Back to 6.
All right. And the last two categories are taste and finish. I don't know if you want to do one because I think should be able to do one and offer your opinion on both.
Yeah. Okay.
So let's
I'll do
go
my
to
best not to
support.
do a lot of slurping on this audio medium that we're recording here.
And stay in this order, 312,
All right.
and note the fact that first we're going to do a sip because you got to let your tongue get used to this to flavor, and then
Mm,
we'll do the taste and swallow, taste and finish.
okay.
Here's to you.
Cheers.
Boy,
Okay. And all of
yeah.
these are under $30 in the state of Texas, correct?
In fact, one was under 20.
Get out of town.
Yeah.
Ooh, I've got one in my cabinet right there. It was about $14 through our distributor at work. So
Well, I got the Old Forester recently on sale for. That's how you know it's not one of these for $16.
okay. Good.
Okay,
No
so now we're going to
spoilers.
go with the
Mm,
taste and finish.
okay. Okay. Trying to gather my thoughts here. I did about half of the sample in these bottles. I didn't want to. It is 1 p.m. here for me, and I got
I
back from the gym
apologize for
about
that.
2 hours ago. No, it's all right. It's my Friday, I guess you could say.
Well, we were going to accommodate a third person who's on the East Coast, so
Yeah.
he having dropped off, we probably could have pushed it later in the day. Now that I think about it. Okay, okay.
All right, you go. You go first, because
Well, the finish is what I think they refer to as the Kentucky hug. So I'll go backwards. For me, the finish is obviously it's warming, but there's
hmm.
also for me it's like a pear honey taste on the back of my tongue. I'm
Ooh,
just trying to be
okay.
absolutely open minded. Um, Light, if any presence of oak at all. Um, it's not standing out, and I'm going to say a little vanilla, and I enjoy it. It's the taste was a little bit less smooth, I think, than the finish, but
For what you're looking
I
for in a
enjoy.
bourbon, do you enjoy it? Is this what you think of when you think of bourbon?
Um, Without getting too descriptive, I'll just say yes.
Okay.
How about you? What do you got for taste and finish on number three?
It has, the finish is definitely there. It's probably like medium long. Uh, I would have to guess this is probably about 40%, maybe 43. It doesn't drink very strong to me. It's a little light. Um, not as much
43
corn,
corn?
not as much corn and maybe oak as I would like in a bourbon. I think it has a decent flavor though. I'm gonna give it a 6.5 because I can do that because there's no rule set
Well,
on
yeah,
taste and
no, yeah.
finish.
Thanks, Dick. Well, you got taste is one and finish is the other.
Oh, there's okay. I thought we are doing it like appearance slash nose. All right. Taste, I'll give it a 7. Finish, I'll give it like a 6. That kind of black pepper really kind of lingers on there, and it's not my favorite flavor, but it's definitely a supremely drinkable whiskey either way.
Yeah, I like the way you said that because that's something I was going to say as well. It is drinkable.
Yeah, there's no
All
like
right.
cheaply made spirit kind of alcoholic burn to it, or just harsh tones.
Yeah, it's kind
So
of
yeah,
like what we're going for here because you got the lesser expensive ones, but do they taste it? I mean,
yeah, yeah.
um, okay. So
Are
make
you
sure you
done?
get yourself
Yeah.
a drink of water or and a what are those called again? Gelato salatos. I lost my package.
What, Italian crackers? Gelato? What the hell are you?
Galetas salatas. Saltine crackers, in other words. to cleanse the palate in between.
Oh yeah, my palate's wiped away
Hey, you
clean.
got to admit, I mean, I'm going to give these Hill Country saltine crackers an 8.5. They're
They're
pretty
pretty
good.
good. They're pretty good. Yeah, good texture. Really appropriate salt level. Not bad. Better than that last whiskey, maybe. But yeah.
Whoa.
Well, if you're comparing whiskey and crackers.
Well, I mean, it's I like the fact, because bourbon is minimum 40% alcohol. I'm not sure if that's a guidance again, but um, the fact that that didn't taste sharp at all and
Yeah,
uh,
it's been
nice
matured to
finish.
the proper duration of time, I guess, in the charred oak cask, and also where they're making the cuts on the still were appropriate to not produce a garbage whiskey. So,
Okay, we're into number one.
number one.
I'm going in.
All right.
First sip down. I'm ignoring it. I will say it's known that I'm a fan of these three because I didn't have to buy them special. Wait, no, I didn't.
Okay. I'm not going to use any kind of detective work to assume what these are.
Okay,
Being that I come down there and drink off your bourbon rail semi frequently.
he's come a long way since you last were here.
I'm going to change my rating a little bit just to give some extremes here, so we have not a little bit of better data.
Okay, so number one, we're rating for me little. I'm just going to say a little sharper taste, a little more forward with the peppery, definitely white oak. Not, I don't think there's a charred finish that I'm catching too much. I don't catch the vanilla as much on the finish or the smoothness of it. I do like the way, on the finish though, it feels like it's more of a like a I don't want to say a slap in the face, but it's like, hey, you just had some bourbon. What do you think of that? Like that. Um, I'm gonna give the taste. Well, it's not to me, but I know what I'm giving the taste. I'm gonna go there with that. And then the finish, I'm gonna go there with that.
Wait, have your ratings been secret this whole time? Or am I supposed to be secret too? I
No,
don't.
you're because you're the expert. You're the one making the decisions.
Uh,
Mine's just gonna be like, here's where I came in.
Criminy. All right,
Yeah.
so taste. This one to me right off the bat was a bit rougher, as you could say, a little more harsh. Um, Flavors didn't really gel together as well. The finish was better. I like the finish a lot. Very, I mean, I thought it was pretty oaky. A bit more corn, a bit more bourbony altogether. I gave the taste a 5 and the finish an 8.
Oh, look at that. You do love that 13 though, don't you?
I don't know. I am not calculating these on my own end. All right.
All right. So palate cleanse again. Move on to number three. It's all science.
Yeah.
Love me
Oh, a
some
little
science.
pro tip for those of whiskey consumers or just any kind of sensory at home. If your nose is getting like a little overwhelmed and by all the drinks or whatever, you can always smell like your own shirt or your arm or something. Give your nose a
Right.
reset, and then I've used it before. I heard it somewhere, and it actually kind of works.
Oh, interesting, because I didn't know that until now. So I've been stuffing pieces of saltine up my nose.
That's another approach that I can't recommend.
I'm vouching for it. Getting kind of messing with the respiratory system right now, but no, I'm just kidding. I haven't. All right. I'm on to
Okay,
number three. I'm
number
trying not to
three,
to nose it again.
which is number two, correct?
312, yes.
Okay, just sorry,
Third
just for
sample. You're right.
our
The third sample is number two.
gotcha, gotcha.
And in case the audience is wondering, I sent the participants of this podcast, which we're supposed to be three. Now we're down to one. Well, two now because you called me into it. Random samples. They don't know. It's just got numbers. Okay, so I'm
They
going
were
taste on this one.
sponsored by the Mitch Wonders podcast. Postage was free. They arrived at my door, sort of, and real classy move.
right. Again, not to beleaguer a term, but first note I get is a peppery, a little bit of a sharpness, not harsh, but sharp. Um, there is a nice little white oak kick. I think I'm feeling it. Um, I'm not sure the mash bill, but again, I mean, if we're doing the side by side comparison, and I don't see I don't get the smoothness on the finish that I did with the first sample, number three. Um, but I'm not disappointed. Um, I think I'm catching a little pear in there as well on the finish. It's got a nice hug, nice Kentucky hug at the end, um, but a little less substantial. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So let me get my numbers down here.
All right. I won't interfere. I'm gonna revisit it while you're doing that.
I'm tallying mine up because I'm good to go.
This is my weekend after all. Okay. Do whatever I want.
Well, it literally is mine too. So, all right. So we're going taste and finish on sample two, which is, wait, sample three, which is two.
Mm-hmm. I think I think I gave it another 13 points again. Damn, I just can't help myself. I'm so
You
middle of the
can't.
road.
You really are.
Um, okay. So taste, I gave a six. Finish, I gave a seven. And I mean, these aren't bad whiskeys at all. They've all been pretty drinkable. There's just some aspects maybe missing that I would like to have in a bourbon that I would enjoy. But everyone's, taste and smell is different. What you prefer is different. So yeah, you might love these. Who knows? Um, yeah, this one's just kind of overall like a little softer on the taste. I still get like it's sort of perfumey. I get some vanilla in there. A little harsh. The finish is good. There's some little alcohol heat in there. It does,
Yeah,
remind you.
you got light and floral. I mean, you got vanilla where I got pear, kind of that kind of thing, but a mild sweetness in there. But like you say though, it's not as what's the word? Robust is too strong, but it's not as strong. It's like the
Don't got
first
enough
like
ass.
there you go. Number one had that ad.
To be fair, I drink mostly everything, like cask strength. So we're hanging out like mid 50s or
This is
60s.
true. This is true.
This kind
I
of thing
do have
happens in your whiskey journey if you just keep going for too long.
well, luckily, I mean, yours was a tight contest. Mine came in uh on samples one, two, and three, 2019, 22. Yours came
2019,
in one,
22.
two, and three, 2019, 19.
Oh,
So
there's a
let's go with
tide.
the
Damn.
yeah, we dead dog tied on number two. So here's the reveal. Ah, here's number two.
So this is our
Oh,
least
you ready?
favorite? Or
Yes.
sorry. Okay, let's see
Least
it.
favorite. Well, you
Least
had a
favorite.
tie for least. I had
Yeah.
least by this would be
Get out of here.
Buffalo.
Really?
Our least favorite. Uh, if
I
nothing
like
else,
Buffalo Trace.
I could quit right now because that's the one you told me to kiss your ass. It's Buffalo Trace all day long. So side
I
by side,
damn.
we
We
did
all learned something.
well.
I just drank a whole bottle of Buffalo Trace and just finished it like last week. All
let's go with your favorite
right.
and my close second, our buddy Knob
Ooh,
Creek.
Nabber. Yeah.
Now the thing about these two distilleries, Buffalo Trace is a distillery, and it's the oldest operating one continually in the United States because during Prohibition they marketed it as medicine. But Knob Creek is a Jim Beam product, and I think if
That's
if everybody's
correct.
listening, they understand Jim Beam or who Jim Beam is. But it's also one of their four small batch bourbon brands. So they try to target Knob Creek toward the higher end market, and I'm telling you, I'm a
Yeah.
big fan of.
Like it goes Jim Beam and then Basil Hayden's for like the people who are trying to be fancy, but it's pretty much just awful, boring distillate. Knob Creek, and then it goes up to Booker's, and I believe there's one in between. Oh, Baker's is like in between, but I have no idea who's drinking Baker's. But anyway, Booker's is like the top tier Jim Beam juice. Hey, but just to Tarantino back real quick, what was the ABV on that Buffalo Trace? And then that Knobber wasn't like a standard Knob Creek, was it? Or I don't know.
Well, That's why we went backwards. The third
Okay.
sample was well, I'm gonna have to tell you. Let me show you real
Okay.
quick.
Okay.
Then
Let's
we'll
just get
we'll
out in the
talk.
air. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, this is going to look deceptively like what they refer to as a handle, but
That's I knew that would be in here.
number one, 101, side by side. I mean, I thought it was a lot more body, a nice finish, a good hug at the end, a good Kentucky hug.
So yeah, number three,
Because
Wild Turkey 101 for those at
yeah,
home.
Wild Turkey 101. And just so you know, for sake of argument, working with the whiskey expert, I preferred Wild Turkey 101, and he told me to kiss his proverbial four Buffalo Trace, which finished dead last. So um, the reason we went 312 was try to go the higher proofs first. So 101 to 100 to 90
That's not the way
for
you're
Buffalo
supposed to do
Trace.
it. You're
I
supposed to
know
go
it's like ass
lower first.
backwards.
What the fuck?
I
Okay. Sorry,
realized
what the
that as
heck?
we were doing it, but we had already one sample into it. But yeah, you're
Okay,
supposed to go
well,
low to high.
okay,
But still,
okay.
if you had gone low to high, I think it would have been a greater disparity because we would have been
One,
disappointed with
two. Yeah,
Buffalo
okay,
Trace.
that's fair. That's fair. So okay, Wild Turkey 101. Okay, wait, we went 312. So what's the proof on 101? Is it 101? So it's
70.
50.5?
Yeah.
50.5% alcohol. And I said
50
it
to
drank like it was
45.
40. I might have a problem.
I know. I what? I
Goes down
don't know if it's so
smooth.
much of a problem, but it's so good though. It's just because even like
Whoopsie.
I came across wild turkey as a goof back in the day, like when I was working as a bartender in North Central Illinois, God, in the late '80s. But if you got sick, if you got a cold or the
Yeah.
flu, the thing was have a shot of 101 and get under the sheets and sweat it out.
I
So
just
that's what I
revisited it.
thought it
It's
was.
it's pretty good. There's some cinnamon in there. I don't know. It drinks. I like it, but maybe now I'm just biased. But yeah, it's not bad. If I had to choose, I actually probably would like Wild Turkey 101 over the Buffalo Trace. Um, for
Oh,
my
welcome to
for
the
my
dark
tie.
side. Yeah.
Yeah, take that Buffalo Trace.
But hey, it was a fun sampling. We'll have to do another one of these. Maybe we'll do a rye because I'll tell you right now, and just to skew the sample right away. Knob Creek is a damn fine rye. I don't know if it's as good as Chuckanut, but it's a damn fine rye.
That's probably pretty good. So hold on, we had Knob Creek 9 years old as our
We
number
did
one.
Knob nine, and that's the one I
What's the
got.
proof on that one?
100.
So 50% alcohol. And Buffalo
Yep,
Trace is like 46 or something.
it's 45,
Okay.
I believe. Yeah, 45 on the nose. But of the three, Buffalo Trace probably has the best label. If that makes you feel better.
Yeah, it's nice. I don't know. Knob Creek makes a nice bottle. It looks cool. It's, rectangular or whatever. Um, and those were all under 30. They're all pretty good.
Yeah, actually, which one was it? I got the 101 I got last was $27. The
That was
Buffalo
for
Trace was
that big boy?
no, I'll tell you about that
Oh,
later.
okay. Okay. Okay.
But the Buffalo Trace was 24. Oh yeah, and the knob I got for 19.
That's a good deal.
Yeah, well, yeah, I got it. It was a steal, and I was glad to see it. But hey, I appreciate your inputs on there and the random testing and for starting off your Sunday lunchtime with some
Yeah.
taste, tasting some hooch. But
All
uh,
right.
but yeah, we'll have to do it again. And always good to get Mitch and his son on an episode, and if we can get Mitch and his son on an episode and drinking whiskey, by golly, the only thing left we can do now is maybe guns. So we'll
Yeah, drinking whiskey and shooting guns. Just kidding. Don't do both those at the
anyway,
same time.
yeah, don't do that.
Um,
And but hey, don't drink whiskey with your gun hand. You know that.
yeah, everyone at home, chime in if you have a favorite, of what we drank today, or if you have a substitution that you feel is right up there with these three for under $30, or just let us
Yeah,
know. We're interested to hear about it. I am. I drink a lot of whiskey, so
absolutely. And you can offer that feedback on mitchwonders.com. I believe on the third page on the bottom left, there's a place that you can enter some comments straight into Mitch, and I'll make sure Kellen gets that. And
yeah, right in my
thank you all
inbox.
for listening. We really appreciate everybody for staying with us this long, and we'll keep coming at you. So, Kellen, have a good rest of your day, And again, thank you kindly for joining in, and thanks for validating my choice.
As always. Cheers.
Okay.